he introduced me to a different level of fun. And I would say that fun introduced me to other things like, drinking was a thing. Like, I was never a drinker, of course, because I was 18, so I hadn't drunk anything. Drinking can become a substance that you use to run away from things or to not deal with things or to, it becomes a Band-Aid on a lot of your comfort, drinking to the bottom of a bottle. Hello, I'm Chanel. Where do I start? So I have overcome a lot, and I thank God. Okay? I thank God. But one of the main things I think I really want to express and tell all of my sisters about is overcoming soul ties. Because many of us have soul ties, and we are entangled and in relationships that we should not be in. And I don't want that for my girls. I want 2025 us to be soul tie free. I was a young tenderoni back in the day. And I was a freshman in college at Western Michigan. And baby, first of all, I was a freshman and I was coming from a household where I would say I was pretty sheltered. So, sheltered kid at Western. Yeah, baby, it was real. Life was real. Fall welcome week. It was real. It was real. And I met people. I networked. I had a great time in the world. Okay. I think I had the grandest time in the world. But in the midst of my fun, I met a guy, and this guy, introduced me to a different kind of fun that I had never had, a bunch of different things that I had never experienced, had a lot of firsts with him, because I was 18, fresh out of high school, coming from a sheltered home, hadn't experienced had to beg to get a job, because it was like, what do you need a job for? I give you everything. And being independent. I think we got to stop that too. Side note, parents, don't do that. Don't send your kids into the world and they've been sheltered. That's a hard adjustment. And I met this guy who was just so experienced in life, and everything he's doing and his friend group and everything he's about, they're just about fun. They're partying. And let's just be honest, at the time, the partying consisted of drinking bottles of, at the time, the drink of, the popular drink was 1800. Yeah, it was 1800, I believe. Yeah, it was 1800 because at one point in time they had 1800 bottles lined up on their cabinets. Very ghetto. Okay. But yeah, they were constantly drinking. They were, hosting these really, really good parties. And I've never been a part of that. So I'm like, And then let's just be honest. The guy he looked good. He was, he was popular. And then on top of that, he just was he was giving that guy. Yeah, he was very much giving that guy, in my eyes. And I know that guy is subjective. I know sometimes love is blind. Let's be real. But, he was giving that guy, excuse me, and he introduced me to a different level of fun. And I would say that fun introduced me to other things like, drinking was a thing. I was never a drinker, of course, because I was 18, so I hadn't drunk anything. And that opens up a whole nother door, because drinking can become a substance that you use to run away from things or to not deal with things or to, it becomes a Band-Aid. It becomes a Band-Aid. It becomes, you find a lot of, I understand why alcoholics go to drinking. You can find a lot of your comfort drinking to the bottom of a bottle. Yeah. And it'll open up a lot of heartbreak. Now, I hadn't experienced a lot of heartbreak in my little high school and middle school or my K through 12 career. So I really got my heart broke. And then I was also experiencing issues back at home because my parents just decided to get divorced February before I went to college in September, and my dad got remarried in October. So it was a lot of different scenarios that were at play. And of course, with any change, especially a drastic change such as that, I'm moving from Redford, Michigan to Kalamazoo, Michigan. And then my home life is now shifting. Everything that I've known my entire life is now shifting. So my norm is no more. And, my safe space, my humble abode, the place I would go to comfort was no more. And that was a lot of adjusting and a lot of relearning and a lot of hurt. But it was very easy to not deal with the hurt because I had this guy. So this guy introduced me to partying. I became known as the party princess. Yeah, I used to dance on top of tables and counters, and I used to be really drunk and like blackout drunk. I remember one time I was so drunk in the Bernhardt Center on campus, the police was called on me. Yeah, huge embarrassment. Yeah, I'm so glad God is a savior, baby. Because nobody would ever know that I used to be like that. But fast forwarding, we got into a relationship because apparently, I wanted commitment. I don't know why I wanted commitment. This guy was obviously showing me that he was not ready to be in a committed relationship in college. But, I'm a relationship girly. And I feel like you need to commit to me. You either want this or you don't. Because why buy the milk if you can have the whole cow? And I'm not into giving you whole cow privileges and you won't commit. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't say I forced, but I definitely stayed on his head until he committed, right? And even the way we started off our relationship was not good. It started off with domestic violence. And it was a really rough situation. I found out that he had been messing with someone on campus at a party. And I was like, well, I don't want to be with you no more. And then all of a sudden, then he offers, well, we need to be in a relationship. Don't leave me, baby. And I'm like, no, you need to get out my room. All this is happening. I used to stay in Lefebvre. All this is happening in the dorm room. And I'm like, no, you need to get out, blah, 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 blah. And for some reason, something in me like to tussle a little bit. I don't know what that is. I don't know, but I don't care how big you are, homegirl gonna still throw them blows, okay? And he was 6'5". I'm only 5'2". At the time, I don't even think I was 5'2". I was like 5'1". I just got the 5'2" like maybe a couple years ago. Yes, I just got this extra inch. But so he was like he wasn't trying to leave. And at the time, my best friend was visiting me. And so she was like really concerned because he had locked the door. He wouldn't let me come out. And next thing you know, I'm like, you're not about to lock me in here. So now we tussling, and he's big. So nothing for him to tussle with me. He can just pick me up with one hand, and just, and he did. And so, my friends are really concerned and trying to backtrack that situation, which should have been a clear red flag to not jump in a relationship. But he was giving me everything that I was asking for. Yeah, with a beat down. Like, it's okay, I'm not gonna leave you, blah, 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 blase splee, you know, just be in this relationship with me. Like, I don't even want her. I don't, you know, it's like, but don't you want to be with me? You've been asking me to, you know, be in a relationship with you this whole time. And all of a sudden you don't want to be with me no more. Or, you know, and it's like, well, yeah, but I didn't want it to come at the cost of this. But I was already so hurt because my home life was not the same anymore. I feel like back home, I felt like my parents had hurt me in a way. I felt like my father wasn't there to protect me anymore. I felt like I wasn't even his baby girl. Like, I didn't even know at that point, who my dad was. I mean, I know him, like, I know who he was, but like his entire personality, his entire everything changed. He just became somebody different. And so I didn't have what I felt like a protector in that sense. And so it was kind of like, I felt like I just got to take what I'm given. I don't know what else to take. It was a low self-confidence space I was in. It was a place of hurt. And I think in a place of insecurity. Yeah, it was a place of insecurity. And that was just the start of everything. 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 Fast forwarding, I get through my freshman year of college. I spend the summer with him because I didn't want to go back home because home life, I didn't know what home life was for real. I just know it wasn't home, so I'm not going back. So I moved into his apartment with him. And this guy, okay, so they created this group. I'm not even going to say the group name because people will know who it is. But they created this group, and this group was known in Kalamazoo at the time for throwing all these parties. And I was like, you know, feeling this, you know, I'm feeling him. This my man. We in a relationship. We doing good. He got this group. They making money. You know, I'm just a girlfriend. I'm just a girl. You know, life is good. And it got good up until it wasn't good anymore. There was this one girl who used to constantly hang around. She was a Kalamazoo local. Her and her best friend would constantly just like linger around him and his friends. And I didn't really care for her because I seen her intent, but it was never so blatantly disrespectful. It was never disrespectful in front of me. Like, she was never like none of that, even though I know you were a groupie. So one morning, I wake up at 5 a.m. Their apartment is on the first floor. So the bedroom window that we stayed in, I could look out and see the actual parking lot. And so one morning I wake up and I'm like, where is he? Like, the whole house is quiet. And, you know, college apartments, it's like 4 bedrooms in one little quad apartment. So normally if you know, we're asleep, normally his other roommates who are his friends are like up, but nobody. It was quiet. And that, like, immediately I jumped up like something is going on. So I open the door, nobody's in the apartment. I turn around, go back in the room, and the blinds are up, and I see these 2 bodies in the car, like the silhouette of 2 bodies in the car. And I know that one body. I know it because I sleep next to that body every night. I know that one. So I put on my J's, I run outside, and I immediately start charging at the car, right? He sees me, he opens the door and comes at me, drags me by my shirt through the parking lot, right? All the way back into the apartment, drags me back into the room. I'm just dragging. Like, at this point, my legs are like scratched up. My, like, whatever, I think I was wearing like his boxers or something. Like, I done lost a shoe. I have, like, it done got real crazy now. Drags me into the apartment on the side of the bed, like, as we are sitting here, there's this little aisleway, and I'm in between the dresser and the bed, and he's literally on top of me, just shoving me and hitting me, open hand just hitting me in my face. And one of his friends, his roommate, came in and literally body slammed him and was like, "You don't hit no girl." And I just got up and just ran out because I was like, what in the world? How did I get here? How did I think I was so hurt and so in shock because I'm not this girl, It's so, and why am I being treated like this for being a good person or being a good girl to you? And why do I keep coming back? Why do I keep signing up to be hurt? And why would you cheat with this chick outside of our freaking window in the car? You don't love me. You don't love me. And this is the second time you didn't put your hands on me. Except this time it was worse. If somebody wouldn't have came in, my eye would have been black. Now my leg all scratched up. And at the time, his lease was about to be over because it was the end of July. And he was going to have to renew or go to a different apartment for the fall. So I called my dad the next day. I sat on the steps of the apartment and I was so hurt. I just cried. I cried. I don't even know what I had. I don't even think I had on no clothes for real. I had on maybe a big t-shirt. I didn't have on any boxers anymore because my leg, when I got drugged on the ground, everything, my leg was scratched up. It was crazy. So I just remember crying and feeling so hurt and alone. And feeling like I didn't have anywhere to go. I didn't have any protector. I didn't have you have those people you could call home. I felt so ashamed to tell people I'm up here living with this guy and I just got cheated on. I didn't feel like I had a safe enough. I won't say I did not have, because I do have a cousin who I consider to be a brother, but I didn't feel comfortable enough to tell that and them not, try to cause the person real bodily harm, because I knew I wasn't done. But I did call my dad. I did not tell him exactly what had happened, but I said, I'm ready to come home in 2 days. And so he came, he picked me up, and and I stayed home for 3 weeks. And that was something. I stayed there for 3 weeks until my apartment lease. I got my own apartment at the time. Until my apartment lease started, and I got to live with his new wife, her 3 kids, and this new dad that I had that I didn't know. Mind you, this is the same dad. My dad that I've had all my life is now this completely different person. And I definitely believe that the woman has the capability of influencing her husband, whether that be good or bad. Yeah, it was. Our communication had diminished. It had got so bad to the point where I gave him, I've been on my dad's phone plan for forever. My dad is a long time Verizon account holder. He's grandfathered in. He's been with Verizon since 2000. So I love Verizon. I had a nice phone, everything. So I got to the point where my father was not my father anymore. And because I cannot respect the man that you are, I'm just going to go get my own phone, because at this point you're trying to control me and tell me that in order for me to have or be on your phone plan, that I need to call you and talk to you for an hour and stuff like that. And it's there are things that we should be talking about that you will not talk about. And he's made it very clear that we won't talk about the hurt. And that was his way of not acknowledging the way he adjusted to a new life, which is, I don't feel like there's anything wrong with adjusting to a new life. I feel like adjusting to a new life is great. Change is great. However, how you do it, especially when there are children who are in the mix, matters a lot. And I felt very hurt by how he did that. And that was a level of forgiveness that at this big grown age, I am still walking it out. Because that was just the very beginning. That was 2011. He got divorced and remarried. He got divorced in February. He got remarried October 1st of 2011. And then from there, it was like a whirlwind. So it was like a combination of hurt and hurt and hurt and hurt and daddy issues, like framing and giving, like being the blueprint of what I thought was acceptable for a man, which is probably why I was accepting the unnecessary things. And because my father's not like big about he's not really good at taking accountability and talking about the hard things. And my mom's not a talker. I didn't have a role model or an example of how to have a difficult conversation and let people know that I needed help. I wasn't big on asking for help, nor did I see anybody around me ask for help. So I just kind of felt like I had to thug it out on my own. And that wasn't the case. I didn't. I should have asked for help from others. Yeah, but I see that now at this big age. Yeah, we were still in a relationship with my dumb self. I was still in a relationship. That is wild. And the whole time, he was cheating on me. I talked to him maybe 2 to 3 times in that 3-week time span. So when I moved back to Kalamazoo, I lived in the Concord apartments. And he came that night. I moved in and he didn't even stay. He left early to go to a party. It wasn't like oh, I'm so happy to see you, babe. I ain't see you in 3 weeks. It was like, oh, this your new place. Oh, okay. I'm going to bring some stuff here. You know, and I'm looking like, where you been? What do you mean you about to bring what to this place? You ain't paying no rent. Like, what are you talking about? And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna bring a couple of shoes, but that's, marking his territory. And yeah, and so I kind of sensed like, he's probably still messing with that girl. So I found this one guy who I was messing with. Well, I wasn't messing with. This one guy who was really kind to me. And I had spent him for, this relationship that I'm in. And so I spent the block on him like, hey, you still like me? Let's go out. So we went out to eat. We went back to his place. And he was so sweet. Like, oh, God, he was such a really great guy. And I hate being, that girl that's like, who takes advantage of the great guys. And I spent all night with him. And I had so much fun. Like, so much fun. And I didn't even go home. Like, we stayed out till like 4 o'clock in the morning, just like laughing. Like, I feel like college fun is the best fun. We went to we went and remember people used to go to Walmart and stuff and like really just have a good time. Like, why was that fun in the middle of the night? I don't know, but it was. I think we watched a movie. We did a lot. And I didn't come home till like the next morning, and my apartment was on the first floor. Never get an apartment on the first floor. My apartment was on the first floor, and my bedroom window was again facing the parking lot. And I pull up to my new apartment, and my bedroom window is busted open. And I said, oh my God, somebody done broke in my house already. Like, what? And he was like, you want me to go in with you? I'm like, yeah. So he gets out, go in. Nothing's missing. Nothing's broken. Nothing. It's just the window is gone now. And I'm like, this is really ghetto. But I knew who it was. And I didn't say anything. I was like, I'm just going to call the police or, make a police report or put the little, I put the little screen and stuff back in. And yeah. And from there, the toxicities, probably not saying that right, continued. It just became a different person. And one thing I didn't know was to trust my body. So I kept my pH kept being thrown off. And I've never been a person who's like, and this is probably TMI. I've never been a person involved with this is this is my guy. Like, I'm giving myself to you and you only. So, and my body kept like doing weird stuff, and I'm noticing like I'm having pH issues, and I caught an STD one time. I caught freaking, what is it? Chlamydia. And I'm like, how did I, so now I got to go to the freaking campus hospital. And this is like, I'm putting out all of my business, but it's just the simple things that you brush over and you don't feel like are a big deal in the midst of it, but truly they are, because you are worth so much more. But I find myself going to the hospital available on campus for these issues that I've never had these issues before. So I'm like, my mom wasn't like nobody gave me like a sex talk. Nobody gave me like a talk about, your lady parts, none of that. I mean, I had the most deepest sex talk or your lady parts talk I've ever had was in school at the human growth and development class. And so I didn't know like what is going on with me, like why is my body doing this? And oh God, community matters so much. Talk to your kids. And I'm like, why do I tell them like I have chlamydia. Like, why do I have chlamydia? And I don't remember his exact response, but I do remember how he made me feel. And I do remember that I felt very disrespected and blown off. Yeah, very disrespected. I felt very like I didn't matter. Like, this guy just talked to me so crazy. Like, I remember like the way his aggression towards me, like it was my problem. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, who you been messing with? And I'm like, you. Like, what do you mean? You. I just been messing with you. And I just wish I had somebody. I don't know. Baby, listen. I just wish I knew better then. And it was crazy. But, I'm in my sophomore year of college. I'm kicking butt. I'm working. I got my own place. I got 2 jobs. And I got this relationship that is not really a relationship because I can't party like that. I got 2 jobs. I got to pay rent. I got a 2-bedroom apartment. I did have a roommate. We got to a place where we were really good. I knew he was messing with this one girl. And we got to a place where we were really good. Towards the end of 2012. And so we brought in the new year at Firekeepers. And we had such a good time. Mind you, I'm not even old enough to be in Firekeepers, but they didn't ID me, so we in Firekeepers. So we went to Firekeepers and had a ball. And then on top of that, he's at the Russian roulette table just gambling. And baby, he was winning. One thing that man could do was gamble. He could gamble and he could scam. And he was winning. He could throw a party. He could throw a party and gamble and scam. Woo, ain't that the enemy? Baby, you sin well. You sin real well. You senior than sinning. Right after we had this really great time at the December 31st, January 1st of 2012, 2013, he had got arrested. He was in jail for 2 weeks and I held it down. When I say held it down, I made sure he still had his job. I did something illegal that I didn't know was illegal. I ain't even gonna say what it was, but to make sure that he kept his job, I made sure that people did not know where he was. Like, I still maintained everything, schooling, everything. Like, he was still very present. They just didn't see him. Got him out, bailed him out of jail. Then a relationship just went downhill. I got another STD. Or STI, it wasn't STD, STI. And February, I said, I don't think I want to do this no more. And then I felt the Holy Spirit tell me that this was over. And so we had a conversation saying that maybe we should leave this relationship alone. This is not for us anymore. And I said, I agree. But then it's a repeat. It's a repeat of how we first got in a relationship. So it felt like we really want to leave, but we have so much history together. I think it's the trauma bond, because we were broke college students together. We really mastered being broke college students together. And we felt that was just so, like, we have chemistry, we have history, because we made it out the trenches together, and we're both doing better now, and this and that. Like, we can really make this work. But truthfully, the end of the road should have been a long time ago. And so, and I felt it so strong in my spirit before I even knew or really come to understand what that feeling was, that I should have left that relationship in February of 2013. And I didn't. I was so disobedient. A month later, because for some reason, Easter was in March that year. My still boyfriend, because I was supposed to break up with him in February and I didn't, decides that we're going to go back home together for Easter. And he shows up like at 4:00 in the evening to pick me up, because he's been gone. I don't know where, I don't know with who, but he just appears now in the middle of the day on Easter. Like, okay, we about to go home. The food is gone. And it's 2 hours to get back to Detroit. Like, but we go anyways. And that day when he got back, I end up being trapped. Well, I wouldn't say trapped, because it's a blessing. We end up conceiving our son, or my son, well, our son. And, that year. And a month later was my birthday. I found that I was pregnant. He bought me a pregnancy test for my birthday. So that's how I felt like I knew I was trapped. Because who just outwardly just buys you a pregnancy test for your birthday? My birthday is April 18th. I took the pregnancy test, which I was very alarmed about, because why am I taking the pregnancy test? And I was on the pill. So I took the pregnancy test and it came out positive. And when I say my heart sunk, what am I about to do with a baby? What am I about to do with a baby by you? Yeah, so he said, don't worry about it. We'll take care of it. He had me a whole birthday dinner. He brought me bottles, and then it was like some type of event going on at the rec, and he was completely being a douchebag. He took my purse, my keys to my house, my wallet, and he went to Saginaw Valley for a party and left me at the rec. So my homegirls had to take me back home, and I was without my purse for a whole weekend on my birthday weekend. Fast forward into April 30th is my very first pregnancy appointment. He ended up beating me up real bad. Yeah, April 30th. He beat me up real bad. He got upset because he thought I was trying to do something to his car. I was trying to wake him up so that we can go to I believe it was at 2 or 3. It was in the afternoon, but he was sleeping. He had came over because he was going to take me. And he was taking a nap, and I was like, okay, well, I need you to get up. Like, and he didn't have any gas in his car. I could see the gas station from my window. So I take the car to the gas station. I come back. He opens the door and immediately just starts whopping on me. Like, not open-handedly. Like, the man is whopping on me. Like, and at this point, he has my hair in his hand. So I'm just windmilling for my life. Like, if I make contact, I make contact. But what I'm not going to do is just let you sit here and beat me today. So he drags me back to my room, because now my roommate comes out. He drags me back to my room. He grabs me by my throat and just starts hitting me in my face. And so my roommate comes out and she gets him off of me or whatever. But at this point, I'm trying to catch my breath. She gets him off of me. She's like, get out or whatever. And he still comes back and smacks my head up against the wall. So I'm like, boop, and I fall on the floor. So I ended up having to go, the police was called. I ended up having to go to Bronson Hospital. So my first appointment to check on my baby and how far along I was in the hospital. And from there, when I left the hospital, he ended up being taken to jail. And he was in jail for about a good 45 to 60 days. I broke my lease early, and I said, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to raise my baby in this. I don't want this to continue. I think I've had enough. And I almost could have lost my baby. Yeah. And that was the breaking point. So I broke my lease. I moved back home to live with my dad and his wife. And I was in between my mom's house and my dad and his wife's house. And I knew I wanted to get out of Kalamazoo so that when he did get out of jail, he didn't know where I was. Because at the time, my lease would have been up in August. And when he got out, I was gone. And I already started living a different life, a life that was better than when I was living in Kalamazoo. It was different because I was learning a new family. It was different. But it was better. It was safer. I didn't have to worry about being beat anymore. But it wasn't up until, I would say, 2017 that I really had the opportunity, because I had a healthy baby. I will say this. I had a big, healthy baby, December 27th of 2013, and he is now 10 years old. He'll be 11 this year. He is so smart. He plays soccer. He's so handsome. He's brilliant. He's such a cool kid. That's my baby. I love me some Juju Bean. It's that one kid that be in the trenches with you. Juju was in the trenches with me. Juju didn't even know he was in the trenches with me. I made his childhood, his foundation so filled with so much love from his community, from our village, that he did not know that mommy was struggling. Like, he's never seen struggle. Like, to this day, like, I had to tell him yesterday, we were in Chicago yesterday. He's like, why we can't just buy it? I'm like, kid, like, you can't just absorb the fact that you're in Chicago having a good time. Like, and this is your second year going to Chicago and we just go to Chicago any other time, but we decided, I guess, now to start going right before school starts. I don't know. Yeah. And I'm like, why you just can't absorb it? But I didn't really start grieving, jumping back. I didn't really start grieving and actually start healing, working on my healing about that situation until 2017. And I didn't know that I had suppressed those emotions on top of postpartum, because I didn't have time to grieve, because my baby daddy tried to fight my father during the birth of me, during me giving birth to Julian. So it was like, and the police were called. It was just a lot of fighting. And I feel like as soon as I had my baby, I had to go back to life. I had to strive and press harder, and because I had a life to that depended on me to provide for, because my child's father decided that it was more important to go pledge and be a Q than it was to be present for Julian or for me. So I left home, I had somebody drive me in my car back home from the hospital, and it was like, all right, what you gonna do? You got a whole baby. You got to go back to school in another week. You work at McDonald's, so you ain't getting you're not getting any parental leave or paid parental leave or anything like that. They just, all I had was all the money that I had saved for, from working at McDonald's. And I was grinding. I didn't have time to have postpartum. I stayed busy, and I was really hurt. I felt so very unsupported. I was very hurt mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, because I had a C-section because my baby was 9 pounds and he was 41, almost 42 weeks overdue. And I got into a car accident leaving school. So my incision was not even healed yet. I got into a car accident 2 weeks after having him. And so I was like on 275, my car spun out on the freeway and I got hit by like 4 cars. By the grace of God, I am still here. I was hurt. I was so hurt and so low, but all I know is you keep going. You don't stop. You keep going. You press. You don't give up now. You're not a quitter. My dad has always instilled in me to not be a quitter. You keep trying, no matter how hard it is. You can work harder. Like, that was the mindset, but not understanding that the body needs time to heal. My heart needed time to heal. My mind needed time to adjust. I needed to be poured into, because my spirit was shattered. My faith was shattered. My confidence was shattered. I didn't know who I was. Now I don't know who I am, and I have to raise somebody. I have I don't have the help of a baby daddy. It's just me and this baby. And it was lonely. It was dark. It was very dark, I felt like. And I remember, God, I'm kind of getting emotional now. I remember when I was in a place where I had to figure out, because I was still breastfeeding. I breastfed Julian for a year, but I also tried to supplement him with Similac. I was getting him Similac because Julian had a huge appetite, and I just couldn't make that much milk. Like, they say he was cluster feeding, but Julian was like cluster feeding for like 7 freaking months. Like, I don't think that's normal. So he was like literally, and I'm pumping and I'm making milk, and it became a lot to like pump at work. So but I fed him up until like he was like 13, 14 months. But I started trying to supplement with Similac. And I had to choose between gas money, or putting gas in my car, or buying my baby milk. And I remember running out of gas on Newburgh, Merriman Road. I think it's Merriman and Cherry Hill, right before Speedway, because I just spent my last on my baby's milk, and his milk was like $40 at the time. And I was like, I'm not making that kind of money. But I couldn't call my baby daddy to help me. He was getting a bridge card in college. He didn't send me no bridge card to buy no milk. He didn't even care to check in on his kid. I didn't have a phone for real, because I couldn't afford to pay a phone bill. I had a government phone. And I had minutes. The government Obama phone renews it gives you 250 minutes per month. And so I'm not about to talk to you on the phone for real. And he had, I don't know what was it, but he wasn't calling, checking on his kid. He didn't care. I won't say he didn't care. I won't speak for him, but he just was not present. And I wasn't around a lot of people who were in the spot financially to be able to let me, like, to help support me financially. That's why it's so important to have community, like, and not just have community, but have the right community. Because new moms, I think anytime a woman starts a new journey, and this is what I pride myself on doing now, it's so important, and not just a woman, but a man or a woman, but to be a genuine support. I remember at Girl Talk, I host Girl Talks. I said, even if you need money, if I have it, I will not hesitate to give it to you, because I know what it feels like to have to, if it's either this or that. Because I spent the first 6 years of Julian's life, first 5 years of Julian's life, having to decipher if I'm going to be able to afford this, if I'm going to be able to afford that. And I remember even when I was dating Jeffrey, my lights had just got cut off because it had to wait till my paycheck. It was a Wednesday. My paycheck was coming on Friday. And so I'm like really like trying to decipher like how am I going to be able to do this? Like, what am I about to tell my baby, my son, when we go home and the light's not on, and that mama don't get paid till Friday. And at the time, Julian was in a private school in Dearborn Christian, great school. And it's either I'm like, I have to pay tuition and I have to turn my lights back on. My check is only going to be like $900. My DTE bill was like $6 something. Tuition was $5. So I'm trying to like map it out. Like, how am I going to be able to do it? How am I going to be able to do it? Let me tell you about my husband. He was my boyfriend then. Well, no, he never made me his girlfriend. He He never. I just popped out a fiance. That's how it was. But I was trying to figure out how, what services were available for my situation. Calling what they tell you, call United Health or Salvation Army and all these resources that ain't got no money. So I'm like, now I'm frustrated because it's coming time for me to go pick up Julian from school, and I got to figure out what I'm about to tell my kid why we don't have no lights. And it's fall time, so it's just a little chilly outside. And Jeffrey was like, well, what's wrong? Like, why are you acting like that towards me? And I'm like, it's not that I'm acting a certain way. I just got a lot going on, and you trying to be lovey-dovey, and my mind ain't there right now. He's like, well, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know. I'm kind of embarrassed to tell you. So I trusted him and I told him. And that was one of the very first times that I had a man in my life who I actually trusted with right intentions. And that was pivotal for me because I had worked so hard to heal in 2017 and 2018. And even in 2019, I got a personal growth and development leadership coach who helped me navigate through those things. So I had the opportunity to really trust somebody with my feelings and my rawness and my emotions and not hurt me. And it was my husband. Wow. And so I told him my situation. Do you know that man paid my DTE bill? That man paid my DTE bill. Oh my God, I was I cried. I was at my desk and I cried. I don't even think he know that I cried, but that was pivotal for me because my view of men had been so skewed, even in my healing, because my dad, he literally was like, well, we have gone through so much, and I won't go into detail on everything we went through, but I was like, baby, I lost so much hope. It got to the point where it was just like, well, if I don't have a relationship with you, I don't have a relationship with you. And he was okay with that. He was like, well, you need to have a relationship with my spouse or you can't have a relationship with me. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what? Wow. What? Yeah. So I was very happy to have had a authentic, raw moment where I was down bad and I really needed help. And I was able to verbalize it and felt comfortable in verbalizing it. Excuse me. And it not come back to bite me in the butt. Mm-hmm. And that man asked me to marry him in February. Man, when I look back over my life,
I started to sing.
I think things. Yeah. I get it, girl. I get it. I heard it. So, God revealed to me that I was a teacher back in 2022. He called some apostles, he called some prophets, some evangelists, some preachers, pastors, teachers. I am a teacher. I've endured a lot. And I couldn't understand why I feel like I endured so much. But I see now for this present day, and the amount of soul ties and lost women and the amount of just not knowing and the lack of community in women in particular, I am called to teach those women. And I understand that in the process, it didn't feel good, but I'm grateful that I went through all that I've gone through. It did not feel good. It did not. I cried many nights. My child's father has embarrassed me so much. But I am so happy that I have gone through that because I am able to reach back and help another. And I'm not just reaching back to help one. I'm reaching back to help an armful. Like, I don't want that for my girls at all. Like, I want my girls to be loved correctly. I want my girls to be in healthy relationships. I don't want them to be in a place of battling insecurity and just feeling like they have to take whatever they get because for the sake of having a man. I want my girls to love themselves. I want my girls to know how Christ loves them so that they can understand what true unconditional love really is, so that we're not so we don't fall prey to the enemy's tactics, and we don't find ourselves intertwined with things, because when you're in sin for so long, you open up the door to so many other things to come in and just wreak havoc. And I don't want that for our lives. I want our lives to be fruitful. I want our lives to be a life of peace, even in the midst of our trials. I want us to still have joy. I want love to still be in our hearts. I want us to have a peace of mind. I don't want you to be in a relationship with somebody and you got to worry about where they at, or they bringing you home STDs, or they whooping on you, or they making your environment unsafe for you and your child, or they taking your car and dropping you off at work and not coming back to pick you up in your car, you know. Or they're taking your money and you're the only one working. I don't want us to, we're not coming bums in 2025. Those are the things that I want us to get delivered from soul ties. Soul ties have to, I pray that we break the yoke that keeps us in bondage. I pray that, you know, God really breaks the yoke of the soul tie that we have with these toxic men that don't want to marry us, that don't mean well for us, that want to keep us down. They may not have any intent for us, but just as long as you with them while they're being a bum, that's all they want. And I don't want that for my girls. And I am a huge advocate for teaching what I know. Because if I know something and I see that you're dealing with it, let me tell you about my testimony. Let me give you some options. And I'm big on giving you resources. And if you need to come sit on my couch, I welcome that too. Everybody's welcome. Come sit on my couch. Let's eat and talk. I like to eat. You know, you're going to snack. My husband's a great cook. You know, my kids are very personable. They're very stank sometimes, but you know, they come around. But come sit on my couch. Let's talk, or let's go get coffee, or let's go on a Target date and walk. But I want to be that support, especially for young single moms. I always ask, like, you know, do you need anything? Like, how is your mental? You know, and I even feel like for my marriage, like I didn't have like a huge healthy marriage community. I had a whole lot of marriages around me of what not to do. And so I didn't trust anybody to go to and ask advice like, hey, you know, how do you adjust to the married life? Baby, we was thugging it out. And that first year was hard. But now I see what it takes. And I want to be that change. I want to teach how you love your husband when you think that the man is not making any sense. How to walk out love, like how to really walk that thing out when everything about him is getting under your skin, you know? Because nobody taught me that the first year. You know, all I knew was fight for my life. I didn't know how to love, you know. I didn't know how to become one. I didn't know how to, you know, infuse our lives together, or how to submit, or how to talk to my husband. That's another thing, because I had a mouthpiece. My mouth was reckless. I didn't know how to talk to no man. You can't talk to no man crazy like that. You know, we don't get all up in no. And then I was used to fighting. So, you know, my mouth, and I'm going to get in your face. And I'm rolling my neck. And my finger is doing this because I wish you would. Don't do that. Nobody was there to tell me that, you know. Don't do that. I love my husband so much because he's so patient. That man is saved. I mean, he didn't check me in many days. Nah, he didn't. Don't you talk to me like that. Yeah, I'm a soldier in the army of the Lord. I am though. What I do, and this is new for me. It's kind of hard for me to say this because I was like, I don't know if it's really ministry, but it is. It's my ministry. So what I do is I provide a safe space. I provide a safe space for women to ask questions, to discuss things that would normally seem weird or maybe, you know, too far or just off the wall. I feel like a lot of the uncomfortable conversations need to be had, and it's not talked about a lot. Everything that's not talked about a lot and needs to be talked about is what we should talk about. And that space is called Girl Talk, whether it be natural or spiritual. And in addition to that, Girl Talk has birthed a baby recently, and that is called God and Girl. So God and Girl is a platform or a safe space for the believer, the new believer, the babes in Christ, or those who are seasoned but just don't know. I find that a lot of us just don't know on how to live a consecrated lifestyle. I feel that we go to church so often, but we don't know. We get saved and we get on fire for Jesus, but then that's it. And I feel like the ball just drops there. And I've seen that happen so many times. But as believers, we are called to live a consecrated lifestyle. And many of us don't know what that is because it's so properly misinterpreted. It's so wrongly misinterpreted in many pulpits. A consecration is not the same thing as a fast. Consecration is what you're supposed to be doing every single day. Living a set apart lifestyle so that you are able to be a clean and holy, sanctified, purified vessel for Christ. And what does that look like? Because I feel like we say this is how you're supposed to live, but nobody breaks it down. Nobody. So that's what God and Girl is. It's a safe space for you to learn how to live that, and for you to understand what consecrated is, and for you to understand the benefits of being set apart, and how to protect your eye, your ear gates, your mouth, and how to actually mimic and strive to be like Christ every single day, because that will kind of save a lot of it will solve a lot of our issues. It'll tame that mouth. It'll teach you temperance. It'll help you walk in love with those you want to smack. And teach you how to be humble and meek. I'm a stay-at-home wife, and I'm married, and I got 15 billion kids. Like, no, I just got 3. I got 3 kids. I'm a stay-at-home wife, and I have 3 kids. I have a wonderful husband. I've been married for 4.5 years now. And we've been fruitful, and thank God I haven't gotten pregnant yet this year, but we've been busting them out. We've been busting them out almost every 12 months. Absolutely. You can always visit my website at www.imchanelmonique.com.